Okay, so I'm back here with games, sort of a podcast thing. What I can sort of bring up on the Xbox party chat thing. We get some games going and stuff and play some stuff. Sort of what I've done similar before. I've got in the chat today. I've got the New Legal. You guys might be aware and know of New Legal. We've chatted before. Legals, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm so glad to be a part of your show tonight, man. Thank you
That's
for
cool.
inviting me.
And where's your channel? What's your channel at?
Oh, my channel is on
Yeah, front
YouTube.
at the
As
beginning.
far as Direct Gaming, you can catch me on Direct Gaming. You can actually just put in my gamer tag actually on YouTube, the New
Yeah.
Legal, and it will pop up as Direct Gaming. I'm also on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram. I'm also on Twitter. But that's pretty much where you can catch me on. Most of the time, you're gonna catch me on this Xbox. So
That's cool.
thanks for having me, man.
I like to get it in the beginning because not everyone hangs around to the end. You see, so and then we've got a new person to gaming. Well, not new to gaming, but a new person in the chat. Red Dead Panda 871. Introduce yourself.
Kia ora. I yeah, just recently started messaging with Elite, and he's like, I should get you on to have a chat.
Yeah.
I'm also gonna be starting up a YouTube channel shortly. Just Red Dead Panda Gaming. So
Which
look out
most
for that
definitely get
eventually
into.
when it happens.
She's had to recently change her name. You may know that, or you probably would know her other name. She's been on YouTube several times, not in podcasts and such, but in chat and stuff. So,
Arena Warrior Princess was my old one.
yeah. So, but yeah, yeah, definitely get into YouTubing, and it'd be great to have you on board. So I thought, well, I do in chat and stuff, and she supports my channel a lot, which is I'm very proud of and happy for. So we thought we'd get a few topics going in the chat today. So the first topic I thought we'll mention about, which is sort of been floating about now, and it's about this fella Daredevil. So there's a rumour going around now that there's going to be Daredevil and a Wolverine PS5 game that's been sort of leaked, and the rumour floating around and stuff like that. I'll read something out here. So the rumour is, the leak is, it's going to be a PS5 exclusive. But from what I can read, I've googled it myself. From what I can read here, they clearly say Marvel Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4 set a new standard for open world superhero games, and there could be many more that emerge on PS5 and Xbox X after next generation consoles launch later this year. And then it goes on to about the rumour of a Daredevil and Wolverine game set in the same style as Batman Arkham, as Spider-Man was clearly using the Batman Arkham game, the fight mechanics, and the Wolverine game will be more like
events?
The quick time events to Spider-Man are basically identical to the Batman game. It's incredible. They basically use the old the Spider-Man format, and just thrown in Batman quick time events basically to the new Spider-Man. And then the Wolverine game, which this will be a bit sad, the Wolverine game will be based more like God of War apparently, which will be a bit sad. So they said it's going to be linear. It's just going to be a straight through hack and slash, which will be quite
Like
boring.
which God of War?
I assume the new one. I guess it just says God of War, so I'm just going to go with the new one. Yeah, rather than sort of But that'd be a bit sad, I think, if they did that in Wolverine. I think won't do it a service really if it just turned into just a mundane linear hack and slash. But
carbon copy of God of War.
Yeah, with just Logan's face on him. And an annoying little brat that follows him around. Well, they probably make Jubilee or something.
I got a question. Have you guys found anybody running around with the false narrative that it's going to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive? Have you found anybody that would?
I'm not going to name drop, but there are. I just googled it, and there are several YouTube channels that are advertising it as a headline PS5 exclusive. Which I'm just going to go on here. Spider-Man. I can't read what it says here. Spider-Man for the PS4 sold more than 13,000 copies worldwide in July for Sony, and it goes on about there possibly being a sequel. That's completely dependent on Marvel, because Marvel do own the game. Franchise. So I'm going to scroll down to what he actually says more specifically. Yeah, I don't know what you guys want to add to that. Well, I mean, what do you think about an exclusive? Would you think would Marvel do that? Firstly,
no. Hell no. I mean, it's like what you and I were saying before. Like there's no point to them making it exclusive to one console when you can make all this money if you make it multi-plat. It would just be pointless. Like, if you send it out multi-plat, you'll be getting so much as well. If you make it exclusive, you're only going to sell a couple of titles, or more than a couple, obviously. But it's not going to have that far-reaching effect that it would if it went multi-plat.
Yeah, exactly.
And for people to think that it's going to become a Sony exclusive, they're just out of their minds.
Exactly. I mean, Spider-Man sold well, 13 million on PS4. That's brilliant. But if it was multi-plat, you cannot deny the fact that game would have sold about 20 million copies plus.
Yeah, and let's be honest. Let's get to the point of this. Like, the reason they're saying that it's going to be exclusive is just because Spider-Man was exclusive.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
That's the only reason they're saying.
But the only connection there
so...
is as Sony have the movie rights to Spider-Man and were releasing the movie at the same time as the Spider-Man game, and that's the only connection. Why Marvel would then release all their games only for Sony, all their characters only for Sony, even though Sony have no connection with any other character, it would be just crazy, for self-destructive, I think, of Disney. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, well, also, we're talking about Marvel characters, right? So we grew up on some of these characters. Yeah. I mean, it's Marvel characters, comic book characters. They're for everybody. We understand that it was a business decision. We get that. So, with the exception of the Spider-Man game that wasn't exclusive for the PlayStation community, we understand that these other characters within the Marvel universe, just because it's going to be a Marvel character doesn't mean it's going to be another business deal. There's no movies involved with this game.
Sony has no ties to any other character in the Marvel universe.
Right. No, they don't.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
And it's kind of a reason for Sony fanboys to play into that narrative of saying they've got this another exclusive game, but nothing's confirmed.
Yeah.
So it's like another reason to go Sony only, and it's like, well, maybe fact check yourself before you open your mouths, because you're going to be taking some L's later on.
Like,
that's right.
Well, just to lead on to the fact check, I'm going to fact check it right now in front of everyone here. If you just carry on reading down further into the obviously they've gone with the headline, which is PS5, possible PS5 exclusive or PS5 game. If they just read down, it says, the 4chan user claims Marvel is cooking up a single-player story-driven Daredevil title that will release on the PS5, Xbox Series X and PC in late 2021 and 2022. So it actually says it will release on PS5, Xbox Series X and PC. There is nothing...
People actually read these articles? Like, the people who just click on the article and then run with that narrative, and
I know.
Like, then people mention in their chat, in the comment section, and then they have to try and retract it, but they're not willing to retract it because they've got egg on their face, and they're like,
yeah. So they will just continue saying, no, it will be exclusive.
They got those views and those clicks to take up for, and it's so that's what I'm saying. It's so easy to be this way right now. It's beyond me. Like, and the other narrative is, as long as Xbox don't have this game, because you stick to that narrative that, oh, Xbox doesn't have no games, you're gonna gain those type of people, and they know that's where the popularity is at, right? To bash Xbox. So that's why I'm saying I'm not with it. I don't play those type of games. It's funny because, like y'all said, it's right there. And instead, people like their ignorance to be bliss, right? So instead of them like finding out the truth, they really don't want to find out the truth. They want to stay silly with it, because it's fun to stay silly with it. It's fun to get on the articles and say, oh, it's an exclusive, even when they don't even have the proof. They don't care if there's no proof. It's just the fun to say it, to bash. That's it. And when it's proven wrong, it's crickets.
And then proven wrong, and then there's like no video ups by them, and they aren't answering any messages, and they've just gone to ground. Right. But it's suiting when it suits their narrative. Well, they're all up in for, yes, it's going to be a Sony exclusive. See, this is why you should get a PlayStation 5. This is why Sony is better, and it's like, No.
Yeah.
So,
well, I've got an update on this story.
That's right.
From Marvel. Marvel have spoken out about this. They said new Daredevil PlayStation 5 game isn't in development. Marvel confirms. That was yesterday. They confirmed this. Marvel have come out and said they're working on no such games, and it was all rumors and speculation.
Wow. That's what I'm saying. It's you have people running with this stuff, man.
Yeah.
They rather get those views, man. It's just the way it is. They don't care. It's not right.
They'll get those views. They want to have something up against Xbox that Xbox doesn't have, and it's just another.
Let me quote here what he says. Following big heated anticipation, Marvel has officially squashed the Daredevil PS5 game reports. Marvel's creative VP Bill Roseman confirms no such games in active development with Marvel and its partners. Roseman wants to do it. Roseman does want to do it though, but there is no such development happening. So.
Right.
But like Marvel's going to allow it to go.
Yeah. That goes back to what we said. Yeah, there is no chance they'll make it exclusive. No chance at all.
Right. And you got people that as long as it does the damage, right? And these people don't get it, right? The ones that fall for the tricks, they don't understand that they think you're really stupid. That's the thing. That's why they do these clickbaits, because they know you guys aren't the ones that go run and do your research. So they're betting on your dumbness. They're betting on your stupidity, and you fall into their trap. So that's where it becomes funny. That's where it becomes hilarious.
But the interesting thing about further down here, which I find, is it says further down. So let's hypothetically say Marvel does want to do something like this. Who do they pick to make the game? It says Insomniac are apparently busy on Spider-Man 2. Sony's other team are also busy on other projects. Does Marvel go with Square Enix, its other big partner? I didn't know there was a big partner of Marvel. But those teams are also busy with Crystal Dynamics making the Avengers game. So who would they go with?
That Avengers game.
Yeah.
Who do they go with? Let's just troll the trollers and go with the initiative.
Well, no. But the thing is with Xbox, this is the brilliance of Xbox. Xbox would be willing to make the game first party and then release it as a multiplayer.
Yeah, they would, but I think Phil.
Which then would benefit Phil and Disney.
They haven't been honest enough around the fact, like making it very clear when games are specifically Xbox or Game Pass only.
Yeah.
And they're getting a lot of pushback from the community going, oh, it's just going to come to Switch and it's just going to come to PC or Steam. So I think Phil's going to make it very clear if they do any games that whether or not it's going to be Xbox Game Pass exclusive or whether or not it's going to go out to any other platforms.
Yeah. So I think
that's just
we squashed that.
It's the dying of the unknown that gets them. They rather lean towards the Xbox unknown. Just like right now, they don't know what's going on for this summer, but it's not going to be some small news. I can guarantee you that.
What are you talking about? They have that tech demo that they'll eventually be able to play on PC. Like,
yeah,
I know.
They've
right?
got that
it's
playable
ridiculous.
tech demo that they love to talk about and like feed the narrative. They moaned at the Inside Xbox because it didn't have enough gameplay and such. Yes, it didn't have gameplay, but if you look at the tech demo, that wasn't gameplay. That was tech demo play. Like that's what they were doing.
Exactly.
Just playing a tech demo. That's not indicative of real gameplay from a video game that you ever.
Hellblade 2 was basically a demo of a game, an actual existing game, whereas that was a tech demo of a non-existent game. It was just a tech demo just to show graphics. And suddenly they're moving them with a narrative that it's run on PS5. It's not possible on anything else. Even though Epic have come out and said it is capable to be played and used on PC and Xbox Series X. In addition, they think that the game will run in 8K for some reason.
Well, it was running 1440p, 30 frames a second.
As Digital Foundry said, yeah. So
not 8K. Yes, they were using 8K
textures,
with the bigger scans for the all the textures and such. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the actual resolution it was outputting 1440p.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Nothing to be clapping about.
Your event is in June. That's a Sony event that they're setting up, they're announcing on their channels, not Epic.
Well, that is an odd thing.
Sorry, that was a bit of a rant.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That is an odd thing that they seem to be running with. They seem to be running with that. They seem to be claiming that Xbox have shown nothing while Sony's showing everything. But yeah, as you said, Sony's actually shown nothing at all. They've showed a tech demo of something that's not even a game. They've shown no first party at all. They've not revealed what their console looks like. They've not really given any specifics about their hardware. They're very smoke and mirrors at the moment. But seems to be fanboys jumping on them saying, yeah, Sony are brilliant, Sony are incredible. Xbox are scared of hiding, not showing anything. And it's the complete opposite. And it's just really weird to see.
You know, and Xbox has shown games.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Xbox. As I said, first party Xbox have shown, and as you see my recent video, where that one channel, one media site said, apparently Microsoft said there's going to be no first party games for the Xbox Series X. Did you see that? And I'll post on the thingy. Well, they've already said they've got at launch they've got Halo Infinite. They've got Microsoft Flight Simulator. They've said the Gears Tactics will be a launch title for Xbox Series X. Then other first-party games. Then the Forza's very likely going to release as a launch title. Forza Horizon 5. Then we've got Hellblade 2. Then we've got Everwild.
Yeah, that's clearly going to be a Xbox One X. Xbox Series X exclusive. Just by the fidelity of that trailer. Yeah. And it was a cinematic trailer, but it's clearly going to be Series X. But what annoys me is all these people who think that immediately when PS5 launches, every game that releases on the PS5 is going to be PS5 exclusive. Why would Sony do that? They've got 100 million consoles sold. Why would they just pretend that their consumers don't exist anymore on the previous platform?
Yeah. Exactly.
There's going to be the same transition that there has always been every gen with Xbox and with PlayStation. It's just
Sony would fail as a company, a business company, like a company trying to make business, trying to make revenue, would fail totally if they completely dismissed 100 million consoles and then just started making exclusive games for launch.
They even said they weren't going to be making as many consoles at the beginning of the new gen because it just wasn't optional for them. Like, it wasn't an option that they could definitely sink all that money into because look at the state of the economy worldwide.
So you have limited consoles.
Let's pretend this 100 million people don't exist and we're only going to sell maybe 5-6 million consoles and we're only going to make money for that small demographic.
Yeah. Meanwhile, our rivals will have cross-gen games that will cover Xbox Series X, Xbox One, and PC, which will be a massive market.
Well, the trap really happened at was in the services. While PlayStation kept selling consoles, even Sony didn't even understand why their console was selling as fast as it was selling. Because what they meant by that, they understood that the consoles were selling, but what actually generates the money through their services wasn't. We come to find out that we understand that there's multiple consoles on each platform, right? So you had the PlayStation 4, you had the PlayStation 4 Vanilla, and you had the PlayStation 4 Slim, and which came out to replace the PlayStation 4 Vanilla, but then you actually had the PlayStation 4 Pro. So there was actually 3 SKUs at one point in time. Now, when you look at PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, they got rid of that. Remember, they got rid of the PSN network usage for those consoles, and they strictly went with the PlayStation Slim and the PlayStation 4, and they said, and the PlayStation 5 will be what they push for in the future, right? So when we got the numbers, this was what was so funny to me. When we started to get the numbers, so when they did that, they excluded anything else from the PlayStation brand under PlayStation 4. So they can no longer use that narrative. You remember when they used to say, oh, the PSN has 100-something subscribers to it, active subscribers to it, and active users and all this stuff. Well, they didn't really understand that wasn't just talking about the current console generation, but all of them as a whole. But now that Sony cut that off, and all you have is that PlayStation 4 community, now when they did the numbers for it, the PSN wasn't even at a million. Wasn't even at a million. It was like 700,000 users on it. And you're talking, that was when they sold over 100. I think it was like right around 100. They hadn't got that extra 10 million yet. But when they got that extra 10 million, the number came out to be 2 million. So they're not helping their brand at all because they don't understand that the console sales is not where the money is generated from, right? It's from the games and the services. But the services is what outlasts everything because you're constantly paying on that. Okay, what do you mean legal? You buy one game, right? You buy that game. Once you buy that game, that's it. You get the DLCs. Once you get those DLCs, that's it. But the services, as long as you got that console and you keep paying for them services, whether it's monthly or yearly, you keep going. That keeps going and that keeps generating. When you look at millions and millions and millions of subscribers, you're banking on that. You'd rather bank on that than just the games or just the controllers. That's where the money is at. So now that Sony has all these consoles out, and it's just like Red Dead Panda was saying, now that they got all these consoles out, they got all these people that have bought into their games, now it's the only thing left is the services. And now Sony knows that they didn't buy into these services. They see Game Pass is killing them. They tried to compete with it. It's not working because most of them already played these first-party games already, and they're done with them. They're not going to play these games again. Sony doesn't have an ID at Xbox program where these new developing teams are consistently going in there making new games day in and day out, and putting them in there. They don't have that luxury to put their first-party games on that service immediately, like the day it comes out. They don't have that because Sony relies on their hardware structure, and this is why you don't hear nothing about the PlayStation 5 as much as you do the Xbox Series X, because the Xbox Series X is selling more than just its hardware. It's selling the cloud, it's selling features, it's selling power, and it's selling games. And it's selling the services. Those are 5 things that it's selling. And all Sony can do is show you a controller, which is what? Hardware. Show you a tech demo of a game, which is what? Hardware. They haven't showed you anything. The only thing that an SSD. What's SSD? Hardware. It's still a hardware unit.
Yeah. I've just pulled up something. Because I like to use Google. A lot of people don't seem to grasp the concept of Google. But if you type in stuff, it brings you up information, basically.
Where people were like referring to Game Pass as the Netflix of gaming. It is 100% that. People are paying into a subscription fee. Yeah. They see that small dollar amount. They are going to continue that subscription. My subscriptions are going to move with me when I get off my One X and move to my Series X.
Yeah.
I have no problem there. I can't always afford to buy a brand new game, but I know that if it's an Xbox exclusive and it's first party, it's going to Game Pass, and I'm like, cool. Right. I can put that money somewhere else, but I wouldn't usually put it there because it's only a small denomination coming out of my account each month.
And you know the biggest falsehood to that?
They have all these deals.
You know what the biggest falsehood to that is?
Right, and hold on, Elite, watch this. And to add to her, like I've been saying, it's a pandemic out here, right? People have lost their jobs. People are unemployed. And you got people who are gamers. Unfortunately, that's the reality, right? Mm-hmm. They're not willing to sob it out. They're still willing to hang on to what they enjoy. So Game Pass reflects a service that is affordable. Hey, I still have to get my food. You know what? I still got $11, $12 in my pocket. You know what? I still want a game because when it's all said and done, I just want to chill out from all this stress. I'm gonna put back $12 and I'm gonna get 100-something plus games for $12. You cannot beat that anywhere. That's what's killing it off. It's so affordable, and the hard times that the whole world is going through right now, it's sad to say this, but it couldn't have been better for Game Pass. It just couldn't.
It's not just that. I just want to.
Well, there are 10 million people.
10 million people, yeah. And you know, PS Now went up from 700,000 to 2 million now since PS Now stopped dropping. Yeah, I know it's still bad considering there's 110 million of them, but it's gone up. It's gone from 700,000 to 2 million.
How long it's been out?
Well, yeah, exactly.
There you go.
But since they started dropping first party titles on there and lowered its price to match Game Pass, it went up, which means people obviously want the service. But my point is that the whole thing about the falsehood around subscriptions is the biggest falsehood is, but I like to own my own games. That's why I don't want it. But the thing is, yeah, exactly. When you go to a cinema and watch a movie, when you leave that cinema, you don't own that movie. When you watch something on TV, after you finish watching it, you don't then own that program you just watched on TV. You can own it. What you do is you go to a shop and buy it. When you leave the cinema and you just watch Avengers, you go to a shop and then you buy it, a hard copy of it.
Right.
It works. This is exactly the same. Right. If you're playing a subscription game, you can play the game.
However,
and then if you want juicer, you can buy it.
Watch the movie, you don't get a discount to buy it.
Exactly.
You play the game and you like it on Game Pass, they give you a discount.
20% discount. Yeah, to buy the game as well, and then you own it.
Yeah,
that's true.
Just like anything in life. Yeah.
So here,
and there's
let me
so
break
many
down
games
the
that have been introduced just playing it.
Exactly. In fact, Netflix don't offer that service
because some people may not even capture that. Let's put it like this. Not only are they giving you the 20% discount, so that's 10% off right off the top. That's tax. So Microsoft says, hey, look, you don't even have to pay the tax. And then we're going to give you an actual 10% deal. Come on.
Exactly.
If you decide to buy the game, that's it.
Exactly.
You shine. You shine.
But But the thing I was going to go off on the Unreal Engine thing, the thing I just brought up on my screen is 2 days ago. They just went on. You know, we were talking about the SSD nonsense and the superpower, the super magic power of SSD and the tech thing. Anyway, there's been quite a bit of debate and argument going on between gamers and stuff. And what's his name? Tim Sweeney, is it? I'll read some of this out. Anyway, it comes up. Unreal Engine 5 PS5 demo runs happily on current gen graphics cards and SSDs. It's not exclusive to PS5 or any of that hardware. An engineer from Epic China has confirmed performance on a current gen laptop. Let me repeat this. An engineer from Epic China has confirmed performance on a current gen laptop runs higher than what it did on the PS5.
Right.
And then Sony fanboys were trying to damage control that when Tim Sweeney was like, it's just an MP4 file. But then people were actually listening to the stream, like listening to it, and they had people translate it from Chinese, and they were like saying, yes, if it can run on PC. Like they actually verbally confirmed it is not exclusive to PS.
I've got
exactly. What annoyed me about that tech demo was Tim Sweeney's wording made it sound like because of the SSD, it was only playable on PlayStation 5. I'm like, what is up with this?
Tim Sweeney's clearly been paid by Sony.
Are you guys insane?
Yeah, but this is the film. I've got it all in front of my screen now. I've got the tweets and the responses and then sort of this commentary. So it says, I'll carry on from where it says, Tim's basically saying, someone said the demo ran at 1440 FPS on a laptop. It ran better on a laptop than it did basically on the PS5. Tim's replied, they planned the video on stream. Do you see MP4 in the title bar? ? And then this is commentary's come back. He's correct, it was, but that wasn't the engineer was referring to when he was discussing the actual. I was checking my things working still recording. When he was discussing the actual performance of Unreal Engine 5 on his personal machine, that was seemingly in response to a question during the long wider piece about the impressive UE5 technology. Sweeney then explained in Twitter thread that VSync was holding back some of the PS5 performance. So he's almost damage controlled now. When he's been found out, he's damage controlled while it's weaker, saying, oh, it was VSync holding back the performance. It can run at much higher than 30 FPS. But then he was shut down by another person that says, why not simply release the in-depth analysis talk next week and showcase how it really works, include the memory and the SSD management, and how it performs on other systems at the exact same quality, ending this whole speculation. I don't see a reason to wait. And then it goes on to say, it's worth reiterating the Unreal Engine 5 is cross-platform, and it will run on Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, and PCs virtually the same when it's released in 2021.
If you look at that tech demo, it is obviously not utilizing the full abilities of the Sony SSD.
No, it's not.
I mean, it's not. Like, if it was, then you'd get what we saw at that tech demo of Spider-Man, when PS4 Pro was chugging and then Spider-Man on the PS5 SSD was going ridiculously fast. If it was utilizing the full speed of that SSD, she would have been flying so much faster. So just saying that proves that this is easily able to run on an Xbox Series X. So all those people who were saying it couldn't, they're just...
That's right.
They don't understand
they're in for a good
how
laugh from me.
technology works. They just don't understand.
Right.
Like, all these people who think they're in the know don't. Like, I have a computer science background. I understand how computers work. I like to build them.
Yeah.
I pride myself in knowing about technology and keeping myself well informed about what's happening on PlayStation, what's happening on Xbox, what's happening on PC. Because it's something I'm passionate about. But all these people who say they're passionate about it don't do the research and then open their mouths and then are quiet because they don't.
And make YouTube channels about it and spread nonsense. And then the sheep follow onto that, and then they repeat it, and they repeat it. But the interesting thing about this is they was comparing the PS4 version of Spider-Man against the PS5. But the thing is, the leap in those is massive. Nothing, hugely different. Because I mean, the Xbox X is 40% more powerful than the PS4 alone. So I mean, so if you comparing the PS4 with the PS5 is a massive leap. So to say it is a massive jump, but that's only because the PS4 is underpowered, and the PS4 Pro wasn't that much of a performance boost on the PS4. That's why the reason why it's such a massive gap and massive leap in performance for PlayStation is because Sony didn't do a good job on the PS4 Pro, whereas Xbox X done a fantastic job on the Xbox X. So the leap from Xbox X isn't as massive. Like if you look at Xbox X and if you have Xbox X and then compare that to the PS5, then it's obviously it's going to be better. But I don't think the leap's going to be anywhere close to as it is if you compare it to PS4 and PS5. I mean, it's running at 1430 FPS. We've got games running now at that on the Xbox X, actually better.
And I think both Sony and Xbox both learnt the hard way from this current thing. Like, they made those systems so underpowered, and then charged the costs that they charged.
Exactly.
And when they did the mid-gen refresh, I think they realised that they'd mucked up, and then Sony realised they'd really mucked up. 4.2 against 6. Like, they only showed their console at their own event. I bet you if Xbox wasn't doing a mid-gen refresh, they would have shown it at E3 that year.
Oh no, they pulled it out. It was confirmed they pulled it out. Yeah. Because there was
videos of Days Gone in there, and it's like, why is Days Gone twice?
Yeah.
In this E3, but it's because they had to pull it out.
Their show was cut 30 minutes short because the end of the show was meant to be a big devotion to a big show of PS4 Pro, but when Xbox went first and showed Xbox X, they literally pulled the PS4 Pro show, and the show was cut half hour short because they just completely pulled PS4 Pro. But it's reminiscent on the 2013.
Right.
Yeah.
Sony wasn't expecting Xbox to go so high on the teraflops, do so much with the CPU.
Yeah.
And I think they invested too much into the SSD.
Yeah.
Because the SSD is going to be the most expensive component of that console. And I think Xbox was right in being a bit more conservative around the SSD.
And you know who's to blame for that?
If they want to do a mid-gen refresh at any point, they can, and they can improve that SSD if they want. They have that leg room to do that.
But you know who's to blame for that? The media and their fans. Because the media and the fans building up were saying the PS4 Pro is going to be more powerful than the Xbox X.
I need a knockdown shield.
You know that the media helped sell the PlayStation 4, man. Period. It doesn't even have. Here's the thing, man.
I need a helmet.
Regardless of what happened, who sold what, and how much, the fact is this: the PlayStation console, besides PlayStation 2, has never had as many features to offer a gamer than the Xbox console since the 360.
Yeah.
That's just fact.
Sony's been playing catch up. Look at trophies.
So that's right. So you have to, and the majority of the media, the gaming media, are PlayStation fans. We get that, and then a majority of them, period, whether they own an Xbox or a Switch or PlayStation, they're casual. You don't see these. You don't see these article gaming journalists out here playing competitive games and showing you how great they are like that. They show you these games where they even struggle on the simplest games like Cuphead. No one had double jump on Cuphead. They struggle with this type of stuff. These are just facts. So we're looking at people through their eyes as a casual. And if you're not a casual, they don't speak for you. Even though they got a platform for the masses, they don't speak to you. So it's good that we have platforms to ourselves like these, because we can speak our language, we can show people what we're about and our knowledge, and we tell people the truths about the consoles. The thing is, the Xbox Series X is not going to be a traditional console as way of how they put it together. This thing first of all, this thing has 2 motherboards.
Yeah.
2 motherboards. The GPU and the CPU are going to be evenly matched. They're like twins. Now, when you consider the low API feature they're going to have, the DirectX 12 in there, they're going to have the Velocity architecture in there. That too. When you look at that, and plus, people keep trying to ignore this fact, but Microsoft basically took the Xbox off the Windows 10 platform and put it in the Azure cloud. It's in the blades. It's in the servers. It's in the servers. This thing can be optimized by software power. See, never before has consoles been optimized by cloud power.
Yeah.
Software power. Whenever, put it like this. I'm just gonna put it like this. Red Dead Panda, right? She said she built PCs before. Okay, so you understand where I'm about to go with this.
Yep.
When you're doing that type of stuff, anytime that you need to bring more power to that PC, you're going to have to upgrade something. You're going to have to go out there, buy something else to push it. It's not just going to automatically, it's not going to automatically gain more power. Now, that's the traditional way of doing it. With the Series X, whenever Microsoft wants to add additional power, all they're going to do is just send it by way of cloud, because this thing is going to be linked into software. So it's going to be like, it's not even going to be like a boost. It's going to be like extra, if I'm making sense.
Well, that's where the machine learning comes in. It's going to mean, like, if you have a lower, oh my god, can't think of the word for it, lower resolution image. And machine learning can figure out what that lower resolution image is, because you show the machine what the highest resolution of that image is, and then it works out how to make it from a low res image to a high res image just by using machine learning. So you could have a game running at a lower resolution, but it outputs at a higher resolution. So you've got all this overhead now because the system is only aware of it playing this game at this lower resolution. So people aren't taking account into all these different capabilities that are going to be available that Microsoft has been introducing into the system. They just don't understand, or they don't want to listen to what's going to be available through the system. And people are saying, this SSD is going to be amazing. Do people really understand how an SSD works? PC games do. Yes, it's going to improve certain things, but it doesn't compensate for the 12.1 teraflops. It doesn't compensate for a CPU. And the console's variable in the sense that those aren't fixed speeds and fixed frequencies that Sony's console's going to be able to do with the GPU or the CPU. If you're pushing a game so hard, it's going to give somewhere. They don't comprehend how systems work, or they're listening to people who don't understand how systems work. And they're being misinformed and then taking that to other people's channel. I mean, I saw someone's comment that made me laugh, and they were like,
like they'll all do what everybody else does when they see somebody does something. They'll stay safe, so they'll all make YouTube channels.
Herd mentality, right?
Right.
Yeah. So what I thought was funny was there's someone comment in a chat saying, so CPU and GPU doesn't mean anything. I'm just going to get the best SSD possible and I'll be able to get 2080 Ti performance out of it. I don't need a GPU and CPU if my SSD can do that. And I just laughed at that comment because I'm like, that is exactly what Sony people are thinking, that the SSD is going to compensate for the difference in power in the GPU and CPU. They don't understand. And I was
they not even understand what an SSD does? Like, when they say that, you got to be like, you don't even know what an SSD does.
Yeah, like,
you know, it's that below dumb. Right.
Yeah. Or they're just like, people seem to forget that Xbox has a audio chip. Just a dedicated audio chip, just like Sony, and they're like, well, Sony's going to have this dedicated audio chip so the CPU won't have to do audio, which means there's going to be more overhead for them to do other things. I'm like, that's exactly what Xbox is going to have. Right. So in theory, your
there's no bragging rights.
Yeah, right. you can't there's no room.
Because Red Dead Panda, she's right. Elite. And Red Dead, they don't want to hear the fact that Gears 5 has been optimized to ultra level PC 4K, right? Ultra level, high setting.
More than PC.
Yeah, there you go. You're gonna make some people mad. Exactly.
Well,
I didn't even want to go there.
Yeah, it did.
I didn't want to go there. I didn't even want to go there, but more than PC, right? And it's hitting over 100 frames per second. Now, here's another thing they don't want to hear.
Unoptimized.
Totally
unoptimized.
There you go.
New kill leader.
Raw power.
Watch your 6.
Yeah.
This thing is doing that raw power. So why is anybody doubting the fact of what it can do? It's doing that without any feature, without any help. That's the raw power of it.
And let me put this question to you. Has anything come out of Sony to say a game that was playing on PS4 Pro is doing the same equivalent of what Gears 5 can do? No, do you know why? Because they don't put games on PC. Yeah, they don't have bragging rights. There is that bragging right because Xbox has games on PC and they can go, here's the highest settings on PC, this console can do better. There's proof that this console is a beast.
Yeah.
And just exactly throw the book at them, or throw the console.
That's exactly. That's right. That's exactly what they did.
And
they showed us what it could do.
The other thing that people are completely overlooking is the PS5 is going to be overclocked as well. And that's
right. But, you know,
it's a 9.2.
Let me give credit
to 10.4 or something, isn't it?
Guru for this one.
Yeah.
That's funny because that's Mr. Overclock.
It's overclocked. They seem to just dismissing that as a thing. Yeah.
We did that show. We were playing Bleeding Edge.
Yeah.
When it first came out, we were celebrating it. And Elite Crew said that. He said it. He was like, Legal, I'm telling you. The console is going to be overclocked. The fans are going to be running fast. He was like, he broke it down. He was like, when you overclock it, you're making it have to run harder.
Yeah.
And I'll be damned. It wasn't about 2 days later that they talked about that teraflop, and they were talking about issues with overheating. I didn't hear about it anymore.
No.
Yeah.
You didn't hear about it no more.
I am interested to see Sony what they're doing with their cooling option, because they said that they would talk about that more later.
Yeah, just like everything.
What you guys have done.
It's all magical.
You can tell with Xbox, you look at the way they designed the new system, that system is beautiful. PC gamers know heat rises. Most people should know heat rises. So build a system where it pulls the heat out of the top.
Exactly why you have a tower. Yeah.
There's no issues there.
And look at the examples of the two consoles. Look at the Xbox X now. The Xbox X is silent, pretty much silent. Well, the PS4 Pro, as everyone says, it's just it's noise.
My hard drive is louder than my console.
Yeah.
Like
It's
my hard drive
noise.
that's plugged into the back of my console is louder than my console.
But they think now.
Seriously.
So Xbox already know where they're going with their calling solutions, and their everything like that. Where PS5 is a new thing for them. Sony's a new thing for them. But they seem to think magically they're going to have this new SSD, which is all new, but Sony are going to master it. They're going to have this new calling system, which Sony have mastered. They're going to have this that Sony's mastered, that Sony's mastered, and it's all going to work together and all be brilliant. But how I see it, the bottom line, I reckon we're just going to go. It's going to be the same as going from PS3. From PS2 to PS3, I reckon PS4 was a massive success. I reckon the PS5, just like the PS3, is just going to take a massive slump. I reckon, and it's just going to overheat and be a massive issue.
Do well. I think it's going to initially do well because you've got those hardcore gamers.
Oh yeah, they will buy it. Yeah, they'll buy anything.
And then I think a lot of things are going to start coming out about it. More. Third-party games are going to show off what it's playing better on the Xbox. Yeah. So then people are going to buy an Xbox like they did with Red Dead 2. All those gaming media, they went and bought an Xbox One X just to play Red Dead 2 in better quality. And I was talking to my brother because he's got a PlayStation 4 Pro, and he said he didn't even notice the difference. He couldn't tell the difference, and I said I could immediately tell the difference. It looked blurry.
Right.
In comparison, it was softer. But going back to that overheating comment, or overclocking comment, any PC gamer knows when you overclock a system and you have it overclocked for the lifetime of that system, that system is compromised. It's not going to run as well for as long. So you're going to have to hold out for that PS5 Pro mid-gen refresh, because that's all I hear is people were damage controlling the power of the Xbox by going, cool, I'm just going to get the PS5 Pro when it comes out, and then you guys won't have a more powerful console. And I'm like, oh, get over yourselves.
Yeah, they actually are complaining. They actually are stating that it's going to be more powerful than a high-graded PC.
Not too far from ring.
That's right. I also think that PlayStation is trying to play this mid-high-low stuff, right? This mid-cycle console release thing, and I think that Microsoft is baiting it. I think they're really baiting it, and I think that they have something up their sleeve. And when Sony comes out. Whatever they're going to try to do, Microsoft already, it's going to be, there's nothing Sony's going to be able to do to beat Microsoft. It's just going to take an L. Regardless of what happens, they're taking an L. There's nothing they
I don't think
nothing they can do.
Like, Phil is confident, and you can tell immediately when Phil took over from Xbox the difference it made. And I don't think Sony's prepared, because Phil is just like, do what you guys got to do. This is what we want. Make it happen. And I don't think Sony has those big pockets to match that option. They just can't match that.
I'm just looking at the overclocking thing, the hindrances of overclocking.
I don't want to take away from the fact that, like, obviously the tech demo was really, really good.
Oh yeah, it was great.
I was very impressed with it, and I was like, cool, reminds me of what I saw on that Hellblade trailer. That fidelity, that quality, it's so crystal clear.
Why is it not the same energy though?
That's what you...
The Hellblade 2 trailer just got pushed to one side. I don't get how...
It's only a glimpse of what you can expect.
Yeah.
Because that tech demo didn't have AI, NPCs, it didn't have anything, and you heard those developers say, I would challenge any developer to spend 30 hours, like trying to make a game that lasts 30 hours and match that fidelity of that tech demo. You would have to cut corners, you just don't have the time and effort to put that much.
In fact, you know what I did, which I suggest everyone does? Google, or YouTube, Unreal Engine 4 tech demo. Look at that. And see what they showed on that, and then explain why we've not had those games this generation. Because at the end of the day, because I watched it the other day, and the Unreal 4 demo looks incredible as well, but yet we've not seen many games with that. use that, because at the end of the day it comes down to developers, whether they want to use it or if they can use it, or it comes down to a whole load of things. And at the end of the day, and the funny thing is though, more Xbox studios use Unreal Engine than Sony studios. So if that engine is going to be used to its advantage, any advantage at all, it's going to be mainly Xbox studios, because they use it more than Sony studios.
Yeah, well, what I think is interesting is if you look at the beginning of last gen, where Sony didn't really have many good games, and Xbox had a lot more games, but they had the weaker performance.
Yeah.
So immediately Sony jumped in on that. 1080p makes you a better gamer.
It does.
Immediately had all those people going, yes, I agree. It wasn't about the games, it was about the power narrative, and then the games happened because Sony waited several years.
3 years. It was 3 years.
And allowed their developers to get used to the engine for this gen. And then put out those games, and then you get God of War, and you're like, nothing looks as good as God of War. And then you get Horizon Zero Dawn, nothing looks as good as Horizon Zero Dawn. That's because they've had like 3 years to develop. If Xbox starts a generation, here's the games. But now Xbox is so long in the tooth with the game developers, first party games, they can do exactly what Sony does. And by 3 years into the gen, they're going to go, nothing looks as good as this. Because
that's
can
exactly
do
what
that.
they did.
And that's what Sony's banking on doing this gen. Yes, they might have a couple of good first-party games at the beginning, but they're waiting till the developers get used to the new engines, and they're holding out, and then they're going to release those games. And
exactly,
Sony fanboys are just so all about pretty graphics.
That's right. Now watch what she just said. Here's the trap. The trap with that is that Microsoft has bought these new acquisitions, right? And they haven't showed us a thing. The thing is, Sony doesn't have enough dev power anymore. They just don't. And like y'all said, they don't use Unreal engines and things like that. They use their own engines. And the problem is the engines in the industry rely on the quality and performance of Microsoft's technology as far as DXR, the software version of ray tracing. They also use the DirectX 12. They use that. So Microsoft has an advantage right there when it comes to the third-party support, and they show that, 140 of them. Now, when you take all of that in consideration, right, what's going to happen when Sony's sitting around waiting for these devs to get used to their technology, but they're already used to Microsoft's technology, and Microsoft keeps putting out these games? It's not going to matter anymore what they do. And that's the problem. They don't know where to go. People keep thinking that Sony is silent because, oh, they don't want to reveal, and it's genius. But in the reality, they have nowhere to go. They don't have no more tricks up their sleeves to show you guys, to fool you guys with. That's their problem. Yeah. They are trying to figure out tricks to fool you guys. But Microsoft is saying, hey, you're going to hit this brick wall. You have to collide into this brick wall eventually. It doesn't matter if you start moving from 60 miles per hour to 2 miles per hour. You're going to run into that brick wall, and it's called Microsoft.
And you know what it's distracted from? The price, which Sony have said, we're waiting for Xbox to reveal their price. And you know what Xbox says? Oh, okay, we're waiting for Sony to reveal their price. Because at the end of the day, Xbox don't have to reveal a price at all. They can literally hold out for Sony because they've got more money. So whatever, and they've already said it now. They've come out and said it, which I said this ages ago. Xbox has now come out and said that we're not going to reveal our price until Sony have, and whatever Sony reveals, we're going to match it. Which put the right shitters up Sony. They was like, what?
I think Phil was anticipating that Sony would have an event, and by June they might announce their price. Because I remember Phil saying during an interview that there's no point giving you guys a price until you've seen the games, and then make the decision on what console you want to buy. Then we'll reveal a price. And then I think was IGN, they asked when are they likely pre-orders to open up, and Phil was a bit umming and ahhing, but he was saying maybe July, and that kind of coincides with the July event that's happening, but I think Sony's saying they're wanting to do, well, not Sony, but rumors saying they're wanting to do 2 events, one in June and one in August, is meaning Sony's going to try and wait as long as possible to announce that price, and they'll probably wait till August.
And I hope Xbox will hold out and won't give a price, because there is no reason to give them a price. They can literally leave it up to a few weeks before release, and I reckon they should do that. Yep. They should literally leave it before, because the hardcore are going to buy the console regardless of price. And the casuals are not going to really care about the price until they walk into a shop and see it up on the sign. See, buy your Xbox for X amount, buy your PS5 for X amount, and that's when they'll make their decision. So they don't need to release a price at all.
I mean, you look at the install bases. That 110 million. What is the majority of those being hardcore gamers? No, most of them are casual. You look at the install base
about
for
80%
Xbox.
of those are casual.
Majority of those people for Xbox will probably be hardcore Xbox fans that chose to stick with Xbox and not run over to Sony. Like, I've been a fan of Xbox since Fable 1. That was the game that first introduced me into Xbox. So if they announce a new Fable, I don't care. I'm just like, you could have rubbish games for the rest of the generation. I'm buying an Xbox for Fable.
Yeah. And we know that game's going to be massive. That's just one of the games they got to reveal.
Playground making it, like...
Yeah. And Playground are working on 2 games, one of which is probably going to be Forza. All the studios are working on 2 or 3 games each. We've got Rare that's working on... Well, they're working on doing the Battletoads, aren't they? But they're also doing Everwild. We've got Ninja Theory that just done Bleeding Edge, but they're working on Hellblade 2. They're also working on that Mara game. What's it called? Tales of Mara or something?
Yeah, and then what?
It's a horror.
Even confirmed that they're making a game using Unreal Engine 5, like when it's available.
Yeah.
They're going to be using Unreal Engine 5 for their game. Like,
and they're also doing
how much more
Wastelands 3.
Do we have to show these uneducated fanboys?
It's there in front of them. It's just common sense, and it's common sense. And if you just ain't got no common sense, use Google. That's what I suggest. Just Google stuff.
I mean, I am going to buy a PlayStation 5. It'll be my first PlayStation I've ever owned, and the reason I'm going to buy it is because it will have some form of backwards compatibility. That is it. I wish it had complete backwards compatibility, but I am not buying it day one because I can't afford to buy it day one. I have this massive trip coming up, so I am going to invest in what I love most, and I will buy an Xbox Series X day one. Obviously my trip's going to be whenever I'm allowed to travel again. But, you know, like, priorities.
I wanted to buy both day one.
What Xbox has around services, Sony has told me nothing. Like, I want to see the console because I was not impressed with the controller. It's now a bit better because I've seen mock-ups of what other people have made for controller designs that it could do. It wasn't my favorite controller. It just looked like a Xbox and Nintendo Pro controller ripoff.
Yeah.
But I will probably use a third-party controller because I like the offset layout for the thumbsticks. I mean, I've never been I've played PlayStation games before, but the controller has never been comfortable ever in my hands. It always felt like a Hasbro toy, like a little children's toy a 5-year-old would play with. It was so light. It seemed so basic. When I pick up an Xbox controller, I pick up quality. There's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Like, I play on my series. I play on my Elite Series 2 controller. I had my Elite Series 1. I know what I'm buying.
Yeah. I wanted to buy both consoles at launch, and then so I could do sort of a unboxing thing. But the PS5, I'm not. Yeah, and a comparison. But the PS5, I'm not sure about. Firstly, because they've not advertised any games for it, any first-party games for it at all. Secondly, I'm unsure about their backwards compatibility because they're not being too clear on that either. Because first, there's going to be some games, and then they're not going to be upscaled to PS5. Are they? They're still going to run sort of at low resolutions and stuff, basically like PS4. They're just not very clear on their messages on backwards compatibility. So I'm just.
Y'all ready for mine? You ready for mine?
Yeah, go for it.
Here it is. Bottom line. Why in the hell would I buy a PlayStation 5 and it's still using the shitty ass PSN that it's been using for over 20 years?
Mm-hmm.
They have never changed their damn infrastructure. So that means, regardless of how it looks, what it does, and what it has, it's still going to play like dog shit.
Yeah.
That right there, to me, is the biggest slap in the face that it could ever give its fans by never, ever improving that damn infrastructure. You've had 15 years to do it.
Yeah.
15 years. And I made that bold a long time ago, Elite. I said it'll be a damn shame if the PlayStation 5 comes out and it's got the same damn shitty ass PSN that it has today. And nobody's using it. Nobody's using it. So therefore, we know what the games are going to be. Okay, I don't believe that stupid, back compat, we're going to have at least 1,000 games, or 400 games. I don't believe that. The only games that are going to come out, if they do back compat, will be your God of War, and nobody's going to play those games no more. They're not playing them. Your Uncharted, your Horizon Zero Dawn, it's going to be those type of games because those are the games that sell PlayStation. But they're done with selling PlayStation. You cannot use those games to sell new hardware. It makes no sense at all. See, that's the beauty of a next-gen console, right? Next-gen console. What sells a next-gen console? Next-gen games.
Yeah.
The beauty with the Xbox is that's right. They don't. That's right. Haven't even confirmed. And now here's the beauty of the Xbox. Not only has the Xbox given us a confirmation of next-gen games, it's given us a confirmation of back compatibility, and it's given us a confirmation on our services. We don't even know. Do you realize the leverage that they have with their services? They can come out with a finally, y'all, Game Pass yearly program now.
A Game Pass xCloud included.
And yes, because there's another. You know what, Red Dead Panda? She's on fire tonight. She's helping me. Here's another thing that they want to ignore, Elite. That they want to act like nothing's been said about it, and that's that damn xCloud for Game Pass subscribers. If you are a Game Pass subscriber, you have something to be excited about because now you have initiated yourself freely, automatically to xCloud. You don't even have to now worry about that. I need to go online and register. You're registered because you have Game Pass. What better way for a company to show their appreciation to their consumers that are investing in the type of services that actually make that company go forward? Can't beat it. No. There is nothing Sony's doing that I can't do it. Besides, I hate the controller. I just can't walk around. I hate their games, man. Their games are the same template. I can't do that over the shoulder, hold your hand, soap opera, talk through games. I can't do it all the time. It's boring.
Let me just read this off here. I've just looked up the backwards compatibility. Let me just read this off. Sony's next generation console, the PlayStation 5, will be backward compatible with lots of PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pro games. Are they not the same systems?
Right, that's it.
It's very misleading, isn't it?
They didn't
same
invest,
system
though. Like you looked at when Series X, I mean 1X came out. You look when it came out, and they were like, "This game's gonna be enhanced. This game's gonna be enhanced. This game's gonna be enhanced." We were Sony going, "This game's gonna be enhanced." Like
that's right.
You know.
Right.
We're backwards compatible. I've got to read again. We'll be backward compatible with lots of PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pro games. They're the same games, though. They're the same games. PlayStation 4 hasn't got its own games.
You know
they're the same games.
They're actually the same games, and there's barely there is no performance difference.
No,
it's just a visual difference.
If that.
Yeah.
And the difference here is, Xbox has said, you want to play an old game and it runs on our old systems, you can.
And
that's the difference.
Exactly. And then moving on here,
our old games are running in 4K. Some of our old games are running in 4K. That's a damn shame. Our old games look better than PlayStation's New games. That's sad, man.
And then it also says here, nearly all of the top PS4 titles ranked by playtime will be playable on the PS5. So nearly all the PS4 top titles ranked by will be go backwards compatible ranked by playtime. But what's to say the most playable games are PS4 exclusives?
Well,
that's it. That's what I'm saying.
Like they were saying,
play them again?
But who's to say that they're exclusive?
Games for Xbox, they were saying like we can't put it to 60 frames a second because the game was designed to make the mechanics and the timing for certain the way the person moves and fights to meet 30 frames a second.
Yeah.
So Sony has to individually test every single game because it's not immediately able to do what Xbox has done with the emulation. They've had to do it at a hardware base.
And you know the major flaw to this, don't you? You know the major flaw to this. If the PS5 is going to play PS4 and PS4 Pro games, how does the SSD that is godly status work with the PS4 and PS4 Pro games? Because remember, nothing. The SSD is such a godly power. Exactly.
That's why I think they're having to.
These games will be playable.
Each game
on PS5.
Because I think the SSD being so fast,
so powerful,
has affected the way that they're doing the backwards compatibility with the hardware.
Yeah,
that's why I think they
have massively
this game individually.
These games,
and I think there's a lot of things Sony isn't telling people. But jumping back to what you were saying, Legal, around the services. What did Xbox announce at the beginning of this gen with the amount of servers that they were going to have? They were saying that they used to have like 30,000. They upped it to 300,000. They invested in online services. Whereas Sony had 15,000. They didn't say anything about increasing the amount of servers that they had. They just left it at 15,000. And
speak on it, sister.
Yeah, they just didn't. And now they've gone and made that agreement to use Azure with Microsoft. How many people do not talk about online services because they don't want to acknowledge that Sony had to go to Microsoft because Microsoft has the best infrastructure for it.
Had to go to it.
Having wasted loads of money on Gaikai,
whatever it's called. Amazon's planning and throwing their hat in the ring in gaming. And Amazon doesn't want that. They want to utilize their servers for their system or whatever they're planning on doing.
Now look what she just said. You can't blame Google or Amazon because they have their own infrastructure. There's only one company two. There's two companies out here that can't say so. And that's Nintendo and Sony. Nintendo had to go use Live. And Live helped Nintendo. Nintendo only had 8 million people online. 8 million. They were not making money in their services. So once they got Live, I mean, hey, we'll clap for them. Now that it boosted them up to 10, possibly 11 now, but it worked. I mean, it worked. You know, hey, it added them tripled their millions on people on their service. But when you look at Sony, it doesn't have. When they did that Gaikai, right? When they bought that company was already established. Sony basically outright purchased it. And when they purchased it and created it into a cloud rental service, basically. But
they didn't invest in it.
Right, they didn't create it. They did not create it. Let's get that straight. They bought that out. Microsoft created Live, and from Live it was able to explore and build on it, put in Arcade Live. From there, explored and built on it. Now it created Live 2.0, explored, created on it. Then we got Game Pass and explored to Ultimate Game Pass. You see evolution. Where's Sony?
Yeah.
They have nothing for you.
They bought that, right? Did they invest any money to make improvements? Xbox has consistently, Microsoft and Xbox have consistently been making improvements to it to make it better. Sony just let it stagnate. And then when Xbox did what they did, they were already so far behind Xbox that they couldn't do anything to catch up. They had to go out and find another company to do what Xbox is already doing. Yeah. Because they just let it stagnate. They didn't.
That's right.
It wasn't. They They weren't investing in new ideas and making improvements.
No, they weren't. Because their wallets are not deep enough. So Sony understands that they don't have to push so fast because their fan base they're not hardcore gamers.
They don't ask for better.
They don't. There you go. They can't. How do you expect better from casuals? You can't. Same with Nintendo. How are you going to get them off of Mario jumping up, breaking bricks, to playing something that's going to challenge them? But the difference with Nintendo, the only difference with Nintendo, reason why Nintendo gets a pass on this stuff is because Nintendo's always been based off the Sesame Street notion. It's always been based off let's do the kid. No, really, the kids to the family enjoyment. It's been let's make games for kids, and through those games that the parents will evolve themselves with their children and play together as a household. Yeah. So that if they never would have been original with that, then we might be dogging them out. Look at that. But they've always been that way.
Yeah.
So that to pretend that to pretend that they're not like that would be fake, right?
Yeah.
Well, they've always been innovative in comparison to Sony, like with the Wii remotes, the motion. They introduced Rumble to controllers. Like Sony created the Move and copied Nintendo.
Sony have always followed. Sony have never invented.
Nintendo.
From day one.
Yeah.
They've been a mastermind of copying from day one. There's no originality. I mean, that PlayStation 2 console, the reason why I call it the greatest, because it benefited them. It benefited them with the CD-ROM. It benefited with the media. Right, with the media. And because, people don't understand this. Okay, where are you going with that? What I mean by the CD-ROM, Sony was really putting forth the effort to expand on the CDs because that benefited them. At a time where you had the Walkman, that was using what, people? CDs. So when you look at the original PlayStation, it's nothing more but a Walkman. That same laser that when you close the cap down, the same laser that rotates around the disc to make the game showcase itself on your screen is the same laser technology in the Walkman back in the day when they would have it on your pouch and you would close it and play your music from there. It was the same technology. So when the PlayStation 2 came out, that's when Sony's brilliance as far as an empire could showcase everything. They went and put the media in there. Why? Because the media is what they do. It's how they could market. Because you remember bootlegging was popular then. You could bootleg things. So PlayStation knew that. Then they knew, hey, we get them games on them CDs, and they buy those CDs. And Sony was selling their games. What people don't understand was the very games that Sony was selling to us were from their own CDs. So it was like you said, there was a time where Sony was making money off their own products all the way around. But when that PlayStation 3 came out, they tried to execute so high because they just knew that they had built that brand. You remember they went out and put more market share money on Blu-ray? Yep. Fooled everybody into thinking that they own Blu-ray. Y'all remember that?
Yeah, because people legit think Sony owns Blu-ray.
That's right.
No.
They did. They believed it.
Like LG doesn't own OLED. Panasonic doesn't own OLED. They all invested and they all use OLED.
Yeah. Well, guys, I think that's a topic for another day. I'm going to have to sort of wind it up here because we've been going on for just over an hour. So I don't want to bore the audience. I know we could do, but we'll save it. We want to save it for another episode if we get enough views and stuff. Yeah. But thank you all for joining. I mean, do you want to say who you are again? Or I know Red Panda, you've not got a channel yet, but you're working on it. And you appreciate all the support. So please sub her anyway, because even if you sub her now, you'll be prepared for when her channel goes live. And then we've got my man, the New Legal. Sub him, find him on YouTube. Under his name.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
That's all right. No, we'll do it again, definitely.
Yes. Oh, definitely. I wanted this to be the elite guru taking over Direct Gaming tonight. He did a fabulous job. He's my brother. So anytime he crashes in these streets, man, and he pops up on here, he's gonna do it, man. You did a fabulous job tonight.
That's cool, man.
Red Dead Panda. I cannot say enough for this lady right here. Red Dead Panda, where are you from again?
New Zealand.
This right.
New Zealand.
This lady here is from New Zealand. She is not only remarkable with her gaming knowledge. I'm so glad that I've met her tonight through Elite Guru, but she's in the history books for my channel of her kind. The very first female Xbox gamer fan, and I have enjoyed you completely tonight. Oh. It's unbelievable. Thank you so much. She's the first. This is a very, very special show to me. It means a lot to me to know you, to have met you. Your knowledge, I love it. You showcased tonight. You made this show better. You made this show better by being here. I want to say thank you from the depths of my Xbox fanship. Thank you so much for giving your time.
And thank you all.
Around the globe.
Thank you all for joining us, and thank you for the show. Please sub and share us all. Go on, sorry, Red Dead.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, it's been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed it, so thank you both.
Thank you so much. Elite, close us out, brother.
Yep. Please throw subs and shares and likes to all of us, please, our channels. And hopefully you see us all again soon. Goodbye for now.
That's right. Thank y'all.
Bye, guys. Thank you.